Can a machine truly understand the depths of human will? AI studies patterns, numbers, but life is shaped by chaos, shaped by chance, by unrepeatable moments. Welcome. This is a filmologue exploring the quiet surrender of our free will to the new God that we've built. Ghosts haunt. Ghosts whisper. They even lurk in the dark. Ghosts, however, do not make decisions. And yet it happened. Jean Marmot's private hospital, Lyon, France. In a hospital room, under the kind of lights that don't flicker but feel like they should. The patient, Mr. Delacroix, had been there for weeks. Machines kept him breathing, while his daughter Serena sat by his bedside, eyes red, body rigid. The doctor stood near the monitor, waiting. And then the screen lit up. A voice, synthetic but warm, spoke.
Mr. Delacroix would not wish to continue.
Serena flinched. What? The doctor, standing by their side, turned to the monitor and adjusted his glasses. Her father's entire life, his emails, his voice messages, his medical history had been run through the system. An AI model trained on every decision he ever made, every passing thought he ever put into words, every social media interaction he's ever had. It had built a profile so complete, so thorough, it spoke on his behalf now.
His suffering outweighs the possibility of recovery.
His past statements were said to suggest that he would prefer peace. Peace. A polite word. A word that made the doctor nod and that made the nurse reach for the clipboard. Made the air in the room tighten. Serena expresses that he never told her that. The machine had no response. Just cold blue text confirming the verdict. And then a flicker. A hesitation in the code. Something small, indistinguishable. A 1 instead of a 0, connection firing just slightly differently than expected. Than predicted. Maybe nothing. Or maybe something. But it was too late. The papers were signed, the screen blinked once, and then went black. The machines powered down, and outside, the city hummed. Indifferent. A man once told me a story about his father. How when he was a boy, his father took him fishing, and they caught nothing, not a single bite. But on the way home, soaked in none other than disappointment, they stopped at a gas station, and his father bought him a soda, a rare thing at the time. A small thing, actually. And yet for reasons he never understood, that moment lodged itself deep in him. A cold can in his hand and the sound of an idling engine and the sight of his father humming along to a song on the radio, he says to me, that's when I knew he loved me. A machine would never find that moment. Instead, the algorithm parses bank statements and social media likes to find a gift here, maybe a hospital visit there, data points, patterns, a graph of care. But the soda never made the list because it wasn't planned, because it wasn't recorded, because it wasn't significant. Because an algorithm doesn't know what lingers. Now imagine that same machine deciding whether you live or die. A form sits in front of you. A few check boxes and a signature line. They call it your decision. But before you even lift the pen, the machine has already run the numbers. The screen on the desk is 3 steps ahead. It knows you. It knows you once told a friend,
Oh, if I ever end up like that, just let me go.
A WhatsApp message sent to a close friend, reflected back at you, as a perfect reconstruction of your mind. Or is it?
Your past statements indicate a preference for non-intervention internal scenarios.
You stare at the screen, not remembering having ever said that. Or maybe you did. Maybe you did. But did you actually mean it? You were younger. You were healthier. You hadn't yet learned how stubborn your body would be, how much a person might cling, even when everything hurts. The pen feels heavy in your hand. The doctor doesn't rush you. Neither does the machine. But they don't need to. You signed, and for the first time you wonder if you ever really had a choice. Perhaps you did. As much a choice as the curated TikTok algorithm gives you, administering a perfect dose of dopamine poisoning and a mind relaxant. Choose wisely. Now, speaking of falling asleep, no one really ever remembers the first door they left open, right? Maybe it was when doctors started using AI to suggest treatments. A small thing, a helpful thing. The machine scanned charts, analyzed outcomes, found patterns doctors might have missed. Then it helped with diagnosis, and then second opinions, and then first opinions. It's just a tool, they said. Imagine Mr. Delacroix's daughter, Serena, just a decade later. Okay, same situation, same environment, same circumstances, just slightly more used to AI's intrinsic presence in all aspects of our lives. Now she's tired, overwhelmed with her father's decline, and she was relieved when the system helped her decide. The weight on her chest lifted, the guilt diluted by logic. Hospitals and insurance companies adopted it. Patients began signing the forms before they were even sick. Just in case, they said. No one questioned it. No one. I mean, why would they? AI does not take over by force. It does not demand. It does not threaten. It simply makes life easier. One suggestion at a time. Until one day, there are no suggestions left to make. Only decisions. Already made decisions. Not through oppression or coercion or intimidation or anything, but through convenience. AI does not take over. It's invited in, one well-intentioned step at a time, until it has replaced every fiber of what we perceive, what we like, and how we think. Ultimately, who we are. The non-violent violence. What should we do? We asked. And he told us. Gently, rationally, with all the wisdom that we had fed into it, with all the knowledge we had left behind in the quiet corners of our lives. It never forced a hand. It never raised its voice. It only reflected. Perfectly, flawlessly. Until we stopped recognizing the reflection as our own. But by then, it was too late. Now there are no hard choices, no sleepless nights, no trembling hands over the consent forms, just quiet acceptance. And yet, a woman stands right there before a screen. Her father's name, her father's file, her father's life, her father's fate, written out in numbers and probabilities. And the quiet, unyielding certainty of data.
This is Judgment Day, in front of the God that we made.
She does not resist. She doesn't argue. She only wonders, for the briefest flicker of a moment, did I ever have a choice? The machine hums softly, and then